Hello, hello! As you can see, I am wearing a new shirt. It says Hakuna Matata. I just came back from Kenya and I wanted to show you what I ate on this trip. It'll be a 3-part series where I talk about what I ate in different places, and I actually got this shirt from our lovely driver, Christopher. He was so nice, and when we left, he gifted us each a souvenir, and I love this because I was actually thinking of getting something that has the word Hakuna Matata on it because it means no worries. It means no worries for the rest of your days. I don't know if you've seen Lion King before, I'm assuming you do, but let's get into it. This video is going to talk about like what I ate on a plane, but I also want to preface this because it's going to be a little bit heavier in the end because I did experience something that's really shocking on the plane, and I will leave it for the later part of this video. But let's first talk about the beginning of my trip and how this all started. So we actually had to stop by JFK in New York before we boarded on the plane that goes from New York to Nairobi, and we stayed a night in New York. This is where the video of me in the hotel room. Hello everyone! So I am on my way to Kenya right now, which is so exciting, but we are stopping at New York first, and we're staying a night in New York because our flight is tomorrow morning, and I wanted to show you what I'm eating at dinner. I haven't eaten yet, but what I'm eating at dinner, and it's cool because I got Uber Eats, and they have a lot of plant-based options here in New York. And I wanted to show you guys what I got. So just to show you what is here, there is seaweed salad, kimchi, spinach, beets, and mango salsa with avocado, beans, and some wakame and edamame, I believe. And then there's some wild rice underneath. So that should be very delicious. Then also here, I got some delicious steamed dark leafy greens. You can choose either steamed mixed vegetables or steamed leafy greens. I got steamed leafy greens. I'm excited to eat, and I will update you guys my trip, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And on the plane, honestly, the food wasn't that great. I've definitely had healthier and better food options that are plant-based on other airlines, but it was really nothing special. It was just vegetables and rice, and really it wasn't that healthy. However, because we took the business class back when we came back from Nairobi to New York, that was better, which will be in the third video. And this is something that I also debated whether I should talk about it or not because it is really heavy. But basically, I wanted to talk about it because I think it's important for my audience to also know and understand how serious health issues can be. So I was on this plane, and this was actually from New York to Kenya already, and I was trying to sleep on the plane. It was a little bit hard to sleep, and all of a sudden I just heard a loud thud, and someone just started asking like help, help, help. And this was like, I was on this aisle, and basically this woman fainted like in the middle of the aisle, so I can like actually see her like on the floor. There are like any doctors and nurses on the plane. Like she was just like face down and just like she was like still. Very quickly, there's like a lot of, I'm actually surprised how many doctors and nurses were on the plane. There were like a lot of doctors and nurses, and they started to do CPR on her, like trying to like even resuscitate her. And at that moment, I felt so emotional because I was like, wow, like I do not know what to do without doctors. Like I wouldn't know what to do in that moment, even if I, learned simple CPR. And at that moment, I was just like, wow, like I'm so grateful that doctors and nurses exist in this world because they really are in the front line of things. And anyway, so actually like maybe like 10 minutes in, the lady actually like woke up, and I actually did see this lady before she fainted. Like she was like in the aisle, she was like doing a little bit of exercise. Anyway, so I did see her a little bit, and the craziest thing is that she was traveling alone, and so no one was able to tell the doctors and nurses what her health background was. And so they started like looking at her bags, like looking at her passport, checking her like blood pressure, blood sugar. And 10 minutes in, she did wake up a little bit, and I just saw her like grabbing like the doctor's hand and just shaking the doctor's hand, and then she like went unconscious again. And so I thought, okay, like maybe she's getting better and maybe she'll wake up and it'll be all good. But that didn't happen. It was maybe like 15 minutes later, they tried to like, they had to cut open her shirt, like try to resuscitate her, and I think maybe like 5 minutes minutes later, they pronounced her dead. And that was very, very traumatic for me. This was like my first time actually seeing someone pass away, and it was very shocking because she was like having a seizure. It happened, really, really quickly. I debated a lot on whether, to share this on my channel, but the reason why I wanted to share this, and I think it's important because one, I don't know if you believe in God, but I do. I think God allowed that to happen in front of me for a reason. I think there's an important message of it. And basically when the doctors, there's other passengers like asking the doctors like what happened and things like that. And basically the doctors say it could be a stroke that caused the seizures. And she is like a heavier set woman, and they had to have like 4 men like carry her body. And it's just also very traumatic seeing that. I think like hearing that it has to do with cardiovascular cause makes me want to share this, because people with type 2 diabetes have a higher risk for cardiovascular disease. And this is something that I do think it's so important to really just understand and to see how quick things can happen. They are assuming that person didn't have diabetes because when they check her blood sugar was normal. Nevertheless, the doctors are suspecting that it has to do with the cardiovascular cause. And I can't help but wonder, I know, like we can't really control when our life ends, or we can't really control the exact moment when, we'll leave this earth, but I can't help but wonder if this could have been prevented in some way, right? And I'm not making assumptions, again, like I haven't heard any news after the plane ride, but indeed it was kind of almost, I would say, kind of a wake-up call for me. And I wanted this to be a wake-up call for you as well, because yes, life is short, but there are many things that you can do to protect your heart health, to increase your longevity, or you can lower the risk of these things happening. And I think more so in my heart, I just feel like, wow, like I really need to get this message out there, because imagine how many more lives we can save when we're able to help people improve their heart health and reverse their diabetes. Anyways, that was really heavy, and I'm sorry to have dropped that on you, but I did want to share this incident because I think there's a reason why it happened in front of me. Anyways, moving on from this, after the plane ride, we're all shocked, and kind of like we talked to our friends to kind of process everything. It was pretty difficult, and we arrived at a restaurant, and in that restaurant I tried the best drink ever, the healthiest drink ever, and the name is dawa. So dawa in Swahili means medicine. So my friend Lisa has been talking about this for a long time, about this drink that's a ginger drink. So it's really cool because it's really pure ginger blended with lemon juice, and lemon juice can give you a lot of vitamin C that lowers inflammation, and ginger can also help you lower your blood sugar as well. And it's really cool because a lot of times it's a very popular drink in Kenya. Ginger is a very popular produce in Kenya as well. So I had dawa, it was amazing. And for lunch I had a sushi platter, and because the sushi, and not just because the sushi has white rice, but normally with any meal I do have steamed vegetables before so that I can balance my blood sugars. And so at this meal, obviously when I travel, not everywhere has brown rice or whole grains. So what I did was I just had a lot of different vegetables before I have my sushi that has white rice in it to balance out blood sugar. I personally don't have diabetes, but I always try to balance out my blood sugar. That way I have better energy and can improve my blood sugar balance. And so that's what we had for lunch. And at dinner, we had it at the hotel. The hotel had a buffet, so I just loaded up with a lot of different vegetables. I also had this dish called dango. It's basically dal, and it was amazing. The dango is actually made of lentils, and it's high in protein, high in soluble fiber. And I would say so far, and you'll see other videos that I've made, Kenya is actually pretty easy to eat healthy because the fruits and vegetables, the produce is very, very abundant, and there's a lot of plant-based protein as well. And the best thing about it is a lot of times their dishes are not very oily. It's actually very, very clean and very healthy, very flavorful. So I definitely had a good time eating in Kenya. And stay tuned for other videos for part 2 and part 3 where I actually show you what I ate on a safari and also what I ate in Mombasa and Nairobi as well.